I'm going to do a reading from one of my favourite books called Fairy Spells by Claire Narmad, and it's a lovely book about how to see and communicate with fairies. I've had this for 20 years or so, and the book contains a really beautiful poem that I'm going to read that's absolutely just so magical, and it conjures up some incredible imagery, so I just wanted to share that with you. To Rathling's Isle I chanced to sail, when summer breezes softly blew, and there I heard so sweet a tale, that oft I wished it could be true. That said, at eve in rude winds sleep, and hushed is every turbid swell, a mermaid rises from the deep, and sweetly tunes her magic shell. And while she plays, rock, dale, and cave, in dying falls the sound retain, as if some choral spirits gave their aid to swell her witching strain. Then summoned by that dulcet note, uprising to the admiring view, a fairy island seems to float, with tints of many a gorgeous hue, and glittering fanes and lofty towers, all on this fairer isle are seen, and waving trees and shady bowers, with more than mortal verdure green. And as it moves, the western sky glows with 1,000 varying rays, and the calm sea, tinged with each dye, seems like a golden flood of blaze. They also say, if earth or stone, from verdant Erin's hallowed land, were on this magic island throne, for ever fixed, then it would stand. But when for this some little boat in silent ventures from the shore, the mermaid sinks, hushed is the note, the fairy isle is seen no more. The next poem I'm going to read is one of my favourite poems, set in the 18th century, called The Highwayman. The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, and the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. He had a French cocked hat on his forehead, a bunch of lace at his chin, a coat of the claret velvet, and breeches of brown doe skin. They fitted with never a wrinkle, his boots were up to the thigh, and he rode with a jewelled twinkle, his pistol butts a twinkle, his rapier hilt a twinkle, under the jewelled sky. Over the cobbles he clattered, and clashed in the dark inn yard, and he tapped with his whip on the shutters, but all was locked and barred. He whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Beth, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. And dark in the dark old inn yard, a stable wicket creaked, where Tim the ostler listened. His face was white and peaked, his eyes were hollows of madness, his hair like mouldy hay, but he loved the landlord's daughter, the landlord's red-lit daughter. Dumb as a dog he listened, and he heard the robber say, "One kiss, my bonny sweetheart, I'm after a prize tonight, but I shall be back with the yellow gold before the morning light. Yet if they press me sharply, and harry me through the day, then look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way." He rose upright in the stirrups, he scarce could reach her hand, but she loosened her hair in the casement, his face burnt like a brand, as the black cascade of perfume came tumbling over his breast. He kissed its waves in the moonlight, oh sweet black waves in the moonlight. Then he tugged at his rein in the moonlight and galloped away to the rest. He did not come in the dawning, he did not come at noon, and out of the tawny sunset, before the rise of the moon, when the road was a gypsy's ribbon, looping the purple moor, a red-coat troop came marching, marching, marching. King George's men came marching up to the old inn door. They said no word to the landlord, they drank his ale instead, but they gagged his daughter and bound her to the foot of her narrow bed. Two of them knelt at a casement, with muskets at their side. There was death at every window, and hell at one dark window, for Bess could see through her casement the road that he would ride. They had tied her up to attention, with many a sniggering jest. They had bound a musket beside her, with a barrel beneath her breast. Now keep good watch, they kissed her. She heard the dead man say, Look for me by moonlight, watch for me by moonlight. I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. She twisted her hands behind her, but all the knots held good. She writhed her hands till her fingers were wet with sweat or blood. They stretched and strained in the darkness, and the hours crawled by like years, till now on the stroke of midnight, cold on the stroke of midnight, the tip of one finger touched it, the trigger at least was hers. The tip of one finger touched it. She strove no more for the rest. Up she stood to attention, with the barrel beneath her breast. She would not risk their hearing, she would not strive again, for the road lay bare in the moonlight, black and bare in the moonlight, and the blood of her veins in the moonlight throbbed in her love's refrain. Clot, 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 had they heard it, the horse hoofs ringing clear, clip, clop, in the distance. Were they deaf and they did not hear? Down the ribbon of moonlight, over the brow of the hill, the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The redcoats looked their priming. She stood up straight and still. Click-clock, click-clop, in the frosty silence. Tick-tock, in the echoing night. Nearer he came and nearer. Her face was like a light. Her eyes grew wide for a moment. She drew one last deep breath. Then her finger moved in the moonlight. Her musket shattered the moonlight, shattered her breast in the moonlight, and warned him with her death. He turned, he spurred to the west. He did not know who stood, bowed with her head over the musket, drenched with her own red blood. Not till the dawn he heard it, his face grew grey to hear how Bess, the landlord's daughter, the landlord's black-eyed daughter, had watched for her love in the moonlight, and died in the darkness there. Back he spurred like a madman, shrieking a curse to the sky, with the white road smoking behind him, and his rapier brandished high. Blood red were his spurs in the golden noon, wine red was his velvet coat, when they shot him down in the highway, down like a dog in the highway, and he lay in his blood in the highway, with a bunch of lace at his throat. And still of a winter's night, they say, when the wind is in the trees, and when the moon is a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudly seas, when the road is a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, a highwayman comes riding, riding, riding. A highwayman comes riding up to the old inn door. Over the cobbles he clatters, and clangs in the darkened yard. He taps with his whip on the shutters, but all is locked and barred. He whistles a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's black-eyed daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. This is a poem called The Witch by Mary Coleridge. I have walked a great while over the snow, and I am not tall nor strong. My clothes are wet, my teeth are set, and the way was hard and long. I have wandered over the fruitful earth, but I have never come here before. Oh, lift me over the threshold, and let me in the door. The cutting wind is a cruel foe, I dare not stand in the blast. My hands are stone, my voice a groan, and the worst of death is past. I am but a little maiden still, my little white feet are sore. Oh, lift me over the threshold, and let me in at the door. Her voice was the voice that women have, who plead for their heart's desire. She came in the quivering flame, sank and died in the fire. It never was lit again on my hearth, since I hurried across the floor, to lift her over the threshold, and let her in at the door. The next poem I'm going to read is called The Three Witches by Ernest Dowson. All the moonshed nights are over, and the days are grey and dun. There is neither May nor clover, and the day and night are one. Not a hamlet, not a city, meets our strained and tearless eyes, in the plain without a pity, where the one grass droops and dies. We shall wander through the meaning of a day and see no light, for our lichened arms are leaning on the ends of endless night. We, the children of Astarte, dear abortions of the moon, in a gay and silent party, we are riding to you soon. Burning ramparts ever burning, to the flame which never dies, we are yearning, 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 with our gay and tearless eyes. In the plain without a pity, not a hamlet, not a city, where the one grass droops and dies.